stories like that. I mean to say, if I tell you guys, you won't believe the kind of stuff that has happened. There was another family from Ranchi. The police was going to go to their house for a verification to issue the pass to travel. They thought the police has come to arrest. You know how these people get scared with the
Yes.
cops and all.
Yes.
They by mistakenly entered into a containment zone, which was a containment zone of COVID. So I told them that now I can't help you because now you're in a containment zone and now nothing can be done. You won't believe it, Namrita. At 3 a.m. in the night, I get a call from these guys that please help us, the child is drowning. I said, now what have you done? How can the child drown? They swam in the ocean to escape the containment zone, to reach the other side of Mumbai so that we could help them take a bus back home.
Oh my God.
So first we had to get the child admitted. The child was kept for 3-4 days because he had sunk in a lot of water. 8-month-old child, what do you expect? And after that, there was no way we could send them legally. So illegally, we packed them off in a vegetable truck and send them back to Ranchi. So this is something I want to share, but at least, they reach back home and everything. So a lot of emotional stories like this. I mean to say, I think it'll be morning till if I keep talking about these stories.
I can imagine you've dealt with, and we were there just witnessing all of it on television and just feeling bad in our
But
own.
I must thank all the Indian fellows there and everybody out there in the USA, in the California state, in San Francisco, because a lot of families have reached out to us. A lot of families have helped. A lot of family have sent donations through their families in India. So I would like to thank each one and every one of them for their contribution in being a part of this initiative.
That is wonderful to know, and it takes a chain
So,
to,
yes. So we were
definitely.
talking about Nari Niti, I think, and we deviated.
Definitely.
So that's when I realized. So during the pandemic, we were doing a lot of work in UP as well. And we were giving ration to the potters, to the boatmen, to the priests, because they were also out of jobs and they had nothing. And during this time, we came across a village called Mirzapur, which was a Naxalite affected area. And there the girl children wouldn't go to school because of the Naxalite area, and there were jungles which they had to cross. So they asked us how they can help and all. So we said, okay, we'll give them cycles. So at least together in a group, they can cycle to school. The schools were not open that time, but eventually. So while we went there to give the cycles, and we realized that there were these small villages in the hills, in the coal mines, all these areas where the women were constantly beaten up by men. They were not even given food. They were only cooking for the family, but nothing to eat for them. The children had become drug addicts. The husband is completely alcoholic, no money in the house. That's when we realized to start this initiative, Nari Niti, where first we educated women about their rights, about the government schemes. We taught them a little bit of karate and basic reading and writing so that they could stand up on their own. Then we formed an army of 25 women in each village out of 100 women. So supposing there is any marpeat happening in one home, the 25 ladies would get together and be on the husband's case.
So they
So
were
the
called the
whole village,
Green Army you're talking
they were
about?
called the
Green
Green
sarees
Army.
they
Yeah,
were wearing.
yeah, they were called the Green Army. So during this, the whole village is transformed. The men stopped drinking. The men started working. The women became strong. Children started going to school. So the next step was to empower the women even more. When the woman earns money in the house as well, in those kind of homes, then she becomes a goddess. So we decided to get them jobs. So we taught them sewing. We set up sewing centers, say one center for 4-5 villages, where they could come, they could just do the bags, and they could do jholas and bed sheets and all that. We would only get them orders, and we would get them the fabrics as well. They would just get their labor, and we would send the material back. So we did this. We got them, these carts to sell things like fruits, vegetables, or whatever, chaat. So all these kind of things. Then, gobar is abundantly available in India. Yeah, cow dung. So we got them to make uplas, diyas, agarbattis out of that, which they could sell, which we only helped them market. So while we did this, slowly our work spread within the span of 1.5 years to 250 villages. And everybody started calling us that, please help us in our village also, this area also, that area also. Then
Mm.
we started expanding to Madhya Pradesh, and that's how this Nari Niti expanded, and that's how we did this campaign. Now there are lots of places where there is absolutely no industrialization, nothing at all. So what we do is we meet the sarpanch of that village.
Mm.
We pick up 10 homes which are absolutely below the poverty line, absolutely below the poverty line, and we donate them one cow. So with
Okay.
the cow, they can sell the milk, they can make ghee and they can sell that. They can use the gobar to cook food, at least that helps them. So
Mhm.
this has generated income for them. So now this is another project which we are doing. It's called Har Ghar Gaay Abhiyan.
हर घर
So a lot of
में
people are, yeah, so a lot of people are joining hands, and I think it's a beautiful project. And we also have taken an undertaking from them that the cow does not belong to you. The cow belongs to us. So when the cow stops giving milk, please give it back to us.
okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because we don't want the cow getting slaughtered.
Plotted data. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is amazing work that you're doing, and you know, your what's the name of your organization besides?
So there are three initiatives. One is Ghar Bhejo, one
Okay,
is Nari Niti, one is Khana Chahiye. But my own
okay.
trust is called LB Trust, from
LB.
where I do all the work. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a 35-year-old family-owned trust.
Mm-hmm. What an amazing work that you're carrying and going to such places. And I've been to India, sometimes to rural, as a tourist, I'll say, or meeting family, but I do feel the sense that women in rural areas have so much to give. It's just the
Yes,
circumstances are not
they're
there.
very talented. They're very
वेरी
talented.
टैलेंटेड हार्ड वर्किंग ज्यादा women ही काम कर रही होती हैं वहां पर, ये मैंने
Yes, yes.
देखा है. So this is such wonderful initiatives that you're doing. I also had one more thing. A lot of people, many of us want to help, but don't have the means or the right information and sources to start. So tell us the stages of doing philanthropic work, because you had an amazing career. You are, known as one of the best restaurateur, not just in India but in the world. So I just
Yeah.
want to know the stages of philanthropy, or getting into philanthropic work, if you can.
I think this is something which comes from within. It's
Okay.
not something that one can be pushed into, or if I tell you that, oh, you know what, Namrita, do
Uh,
this, do that. If I tell you, you'll do it out of an obligation for me because
mm,
I know you, and
mm,
you will feel that if she's telling me something, I must do it, or you'll do it for a friend. But
uh,
when it comes from your heart, when it comes from within, it's a
uh,
calling, I feel. So when
oh,
that calling comes for you, then
mm,
when you get into it, whether you do it in a very small way, it's not about small, big, or a scale. It's
yes.
about starting. When
Mm,
you start something, when you start giving others, when you do things for others, and when you see that smile on the
mm,
people's face, it's
mm,
not about me telling you that, you know what, when you see a smile on a child's face, it makes my day. It definitely does make my day.
yes.
But my day is made more when I see a woman empowered, because I feel the women are already empowered. They just need opportunities.
Mm,
And that's the difference in our mindset that we have. We all feel women need to be empowered.
mm,
Women are empowered. They are Shakti. They are Nari Shakti.
mm,
They just need the opportunities and wings to fly. So
mm,
I think this is something which comes from within.
within.
And when you actually are doing something, when you very closely attach with people who are doing it, you start accompanying them, you start seeing what is happening, and it's a very gradual process. So
Mm,
if you try to just jump into it, it's not going to be long lasting. It will just be one or two small initiatives, and then you'll be like, okay, fine, my work is done for the year. Now next year I'll think of doing something. So if you want something to be staying with you, it has to become a part of you. It has to become a part of your life, like
mm,
how we breathe, we eat. So
mm,
for me, it is like a part of me. My day is not complete. So now, earlier, when if I am working like 14 hours a day, now I've dedicated a certain number of hours towards these causes, these
yes.
matters. So
Mm.
it's like become a routine now for me, and it can be balanced well. Not that it can't be; it's just a time management.
Very well said. And I'll say to all the people in the Silicon Valley who have a lot of stocks and, and a little empathy in your heart, even if you start with a small random act of kindness, that also helps. And like Neeti,
But
so
the act should be sustaining. The
it
act should
has
be
to be
sustained.
sustaining, which is very
Yeah.
important, I feel.
So if you
And
just do one of an act and then you are like, oh, I've done this, then that's not something that one should do. You should look at something which is sustainable.
I think that has to come from within. There is no
Yes.
forcing as far as
Yes.
social work goes.
But
That's very
Namrita, I've been giving a lot of speeches and
yes.
in colleges
Yeah.
and schools, and I've seen a drastic change in students. They are
Okay.
extremely empathetic, and
Mm.
even the schools, the faculty is paying a lot of attention to children on on social service, which I think is even in the USA.
Yes.
There are a certain number of social service hours that
You have to
children
do.
need to put in,
Yes.
whether they are in a university or a school.
Yes.
But what happens technically in India is that people will just make a certificate, they'll fake it. Oh, I did this many hours in this NGO and that NGO. And I think that is something which the parents have to control.
Very
They
true.
have to tell the children that no, you know what,
Mm.
actually go and do it. And
Mm.
once the child actually goes, sees, experiences, it's all about the experience. Then
Mm.
your perception enhances and you realize that you know what, there is a lot that is happening in life and you realize how privileged you are, and
Mm.
that's when you want to do things for others and makes you happy.
Very true, very true. And not just in India, US also has a lot of poverty, homelessness,
Okay.
drug addiction, alcoholism. So it's not just, India, it's much more visible. You can see the people right there on the streets begging. Every red light I was on, there were, people begging, which is very evident out there. But here too, there is so much to do and, a great message. I'm glad community service is being taught in universities now in India. So I'm going
Yes.
to ask you, Neeti, I've been going through your profile and you've met so many influential people. And you're inspiring yourself. So tell me, anyone you met, has been your inspiration and you really, found something really, wonderful about a
I'll tell
person.
you, I have met a lot of influential people,
Yeah.
but for me, an influential person is somebody who'll actually step out of their comfort zone to do
Oh.
something for others and who doesn't need to be nudged to do it. You could be a celeb, you could be anything. It doesn't make a difference to my life. But
Mm.
are you making a difference to anyone else's life? If you
Mm.
are, then you are definitely influencing other person's life and you are influential. So for me, that person is a star. For
Mm.
my own inspiration is my dad, because when I grew up I was in a very protective environment, a very influential home,
Yeah.
very well taken care of. But he used to always take care of all his workers. He was a very big industrialist in Punjab, and I used to see him having these things for all the workers children, right from their health to education to
Mm.
clothing to Diwali parties to Christmas parties to everything. And I
Mm.
used to always wonder that they do get a salary. Then why my dad is always doing things for them? And
Oh,
those people were in thousands, like huge
yes.
numbers.
Mm.
And that's when he told me once that beta, हर घर में हमेशा चूल्हा जलते रहना चाहिए. Sometimes there is a strike in the factory, he would still pay the salaries.
Yeah.
And these words rang a bell when the pandemic hit, because there were no chulhas burning, there was no food at all.
Mm.
And that's I just got into an action mode. He's not with me anymore, but in spirit he definitely is guiding me. So he's my inspiration.
He must be so, so proud of you, Neeti, and the work that you're
I
doing.
hope so. Yes.
Absolutely, and we all are. In the end, I know, you've done such amazing work, but I want to touch upon your being such a successful restaurateur. What I read was that you were awarded the Restaurateur of the Year in 2019 at the Eiffel Tower in Paris, and
Yeah,
one
right.
of your restaurant was ranked second amongst the top 50 restaurants in the world. That's huge. And in 2022, you were honored as one of the top 50 influential Indians at the London Bridge. So tell me a little bit about your passion for food and hospitality. What's your favorite cuisine and do's and don'ts for many restaurateurs here. There's a lot of competition now in Indian restaurants here in Silicon
I
Valley.
can
So
imagine.
something about that.
So I think food is something which goes with everyone, whether it's a child, whether it's a senior citizen, whether it's our age people. Everyone is a foodie in their own way. Somebody would like a Italian meal, somebody would like an Asian meal, somebody would live on Japanese. So
Mm,
everyone's a foodie in their own way, or somebody would only prefer home cooked meals.
mm,
But for me as a restaurateur, it's my passion to host people, to have people, to
mm,
offer them cuisines from around the world. So if you see, all my restaurants are different cuisines. My one restaurant is Afghani Tazik, and from the northwest frontier. One
mm,
is a Japanese, one is a Asian and a Thai, one is a hardcore
mm.
South Indian.
Yes.
So I like to offer these different experiences to my guests, so
Mm,
they feel that yes. And I do believe in authenticity of the ingredients. That is the key to good food. So when
okay.
you don't compromise on your ingredients and you use the right quality of materials, I
Mm,
think that is what makes a perfect meal.
mm,
So that is something which I think the restaurant should not compromise.
mm,
And honestly, if you see a long term,
mm,
restaurants who have sustained are
mm.
the places which are the food places. You can do the best of interiors, but people will still sit on a bench and eat the best aloo paratha or kulcha.
Yes, yes, yes,
That's because they know the food out here is perfect. So there are places in India which have been running for hundreds of years, for generations,
yes.
carry forward, and that is only because people know the food is bang on. So
Mm,
do not compromise on the ingredients, do not compromise on the quality of the service.
mm,
I think my motto is the guest is always right. So even if you come to my place and you say I don't like this, okay, you are right, so we replace it for you. So instead of coming into an argument, you have to just believe in the philosophy that the guest is always right, the guest is always right. So that is a experience. It's not only about coming in for a meal, it's a whole experience of the minute you enter, how you are seated,
mm,
how much time did it take for you to place an order, or how much time did it take for the food to actually arrive on your table, and
mm.
the gap between it. So all these things are taken care of, and that's how I think what makes a successful restaurant. It's a whole experience, not just the food.
A very good advice, I must say. And I've had the best food at one of the small dhabas in India, the vada pav
Yeah, exactly.
in Goa
Yes.
somewhere. It was a small hut, and such garam garam, like
And
the
it must
ingredient.
have been packed.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it was packed all the time. Mostly these, and they don't move from there. They will be selling from those small, huts there only. But amazing
Yeah.
food. Yeah, and India, I think, is one of best places for hospitality, whichever range
Yes.
you may go to, So that's
Absolutely.
I hope to come to Mumbai one day and come to your restaurant and try,
Please, you
you
must
know,
do that.
definitely. There's so much, to learn from you, Neeti. I'll just quote you. I had read one of your interviews, and you did say, um, if earning name for myself would have been my aim, I would have just stuck to being an entrepreneur and a restaurateur. I have been
True.
felicitated with many big awards for the same, but I've always been aware of my surroundings and the suffering of people in our society. So this is what you said, and I just, it hit my heart right there, and it just sums you up as a person, Neeti. I am so honored to be talking to you, and thank you so much for giving your time. I know it's India time for you, and it's late out there, but it means a lot that you came on my show, and wishing you the best for all you do.
Thank you so much, Namrita. Thank you for having me over. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, San Francisco, Silicon Valley. So, if anyone wants to reach out to us, they can write an email on care@lbtrust.in, and we'll be right back in 24 hours.
That would be great. And any message, last message you want to share for our listeners?
So I think everyone runs after success.
Mm,
Everyone wants to be successful. Everyone wants to have a certain perception in the society,
mm,
the way they are perceived by others.
mm,
I feel that the real success is not how you are perceived by other people in the society or how they welcome you. The
mm,
real success is when you can live a life of joy, of
mm,
fullness, and walk on a path with absolutely abundance and love all around. That is success. Go for that and not for perception of people.
सच अ वंडरफुल मैसेज लिसनर्स। 2023 में इससे ज़्यादा अच्छा मैसेज मुझे तो नहीं लगता कि कोई दे सकता है। तो इस पे आप गौर करें, जो भी आपको अगर आपको इससे कुछ भी मिला हो इस इंटरव्यू से, आप प्लीज़ कीजिए, बट इट हैज़ टू बी अ कॉलिंग लाइक नीति इज़ सेइंग। एंड अ बिग थैंक यू टू रूही हक of Hopi. She's
Of
such a
course.
sweetheart and doing such great work herself. Thank you for connecting us, Neeti and me. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Take care.
Namrata.
Bye, Neeti.
Bye.
Shosha is a creative Indian restaurant located in the heart of Silicon Valley. Shosha is a woman-owned business that serves traditional Indian flavors assimilated with molecular gastronomy techniques. The best Indian bar with happy hours in the Bay Area serves handcrafted drinks inspired by flavors from India with modern craft cocktails that are presented in unique ways. Shosha is a modern take on traditional Indian cuisine. We specialize in corporate luncheon, anniversary celebrations, birthday parties, and catering. Do check us out for a memorable modern Indian dining experience. Shosha is located at 141 South Murphy Avenue in Sunnyvale, California.